longer purchase any in-game premium currency, but you can still use your remaining balance until the servers go offline. We deeply appreciate your dedication, passion, and support over the years, and we'd like to thank you for that. Well, how long can we play? Till January 12th. Why can't I play it in offline mode? Well, Anthem was designed to be an online-only title, so once the servers go offline, the game is no longer playable at all. Can I still install Anthem if I previously purchased it? Yes, you can. Why can I no longer purchase Anthem? Over the course of the next 180 plus days, Anthem will still be playable online, even if you lapse on your currency then. Will I still be able to use my in-game currency? Yes, until January. How long will the game stay on EA Play? Only until August 15th, and then it will be removed. Has anyone else at BioWare been affected? No, the sunsetting of Anthem has not led to any layoffs. And that's it. So, I have a question. Okay? A burning, interesting question. Who the hell even knew that Anthem was still available to play? I actually thought they had closed this years ago. You know, this game flopped tremendously when they released it in early 2019. It was known as one of the biggest AAA failures of all time. Insane amounts of money, time, and resources were invested in it. BioWare stopped making single-player RPGs to make this co-op online shooter game, and it was one of the biggest bombs ever in gaming history. Now, they did support it for about, a year? With updates and the like, but very relatively quickly, within that year time frame, they announced, we're done with it. Like, we're not going to even be deving for it anymore. Don't expect any more updates. Don't expect anything, right? So, the weird part to me is, it's getting shut down in January 2026. It's still available now? And the other thing that gets me about this, all right, let's talk about gaming posterity. Let's talk about preserving the past, and let's talk about having these things available for future generations to experience. Now listen, I don't think anyone's going to say that Anthem's a must-play game, that if you didn't play it, you really missed out on this era of gaming, right? Now, who's going to say that? But you're telling me that because this game was purposefully designed to be online only, that now, once the servers go down in January, no one in history will ever be able to play it ever again. Yeah. That's exactly what they're saying. The game will literally be as if it's never existed. Erased from history. The only way you'll be able to see it is gameplay videos and archives that people made while they were playing it, but you will never be able to play it. That's pretty bad, I think, because here's the thing. Bad games are bad forever once released. That is true, unless they get patched. But you can still play them. Like, you can argue that E.T. the Extraterrestrial is one of the worst video games ever made, and you can avoid it if you want, but you can still go back and play it. This you literally can't ever play. And in fact, they're not even going to have it available anywhere as of August 15th. What they're actually saying here is you cannot buy it anymore. It's not available for purchase anywhere. Okay? It is on EA Play, but only until August 15th. After August 15th, you literally can't even get the game again. So the only way to buy this or play it right now is to get EA Play, download it via that, and play it within the next 180 days, or else you'll never get to experience the game. Now, I've heard about people who played it, and some people say it's an okay game. It's not terrible by any means. It's really nothing special, and that's probably why it flopped. So much money and time and investment put into it, just to be kind of a game is kind of stupid. So I do understand that, but I always thought that maybe one day I would give it a shot. If it was like, a freebie on something, or maybe the thing that gets me is no offline content. They literally never made the game playable offline. So if you didn't have an online connection,
sounds like they commissioned the game.
To make Anthem against their will, and this is the end result. When you stifle creativity because you think you can pocket it for profits, that's where you make a big mistake. Video games very much so are profitable pieces of product to sell, but they are also artistic works. And arguably, if you look at the body of work that BioWare has put out, right? Single-player RPGs like Knights of the Old Republic or Dragon Age or Mass Effect, they have a forte that they can focus on and excel in. When you take them out of that forte and say, just do what everyone else is doing, you have stifled creativity, you have missed the mark, and you don't even know what you're doing with your own company. And this just proves that these people who are in charge of these game companies are just suits. They are rich bitches, smooth in the mouth, everything paid for, no strive for diversity, they don't really think about gaming or anything else, but they're put in positions of power because they're rich. So, hey, I'm on the board of 7 companies, I know what I'm doing. Hey, look, over there, there's a trend. Everyone's doing looter shooters together now. Take a look at all the Tom Clancy games that are printing money. We need to do that too. Quick, make a game like that, BioWare. And BioWare says, what are you talking about? Like, we don't make that. We're not going to know what we're doing. This is not going to work. No, too bad. Make it anyway. But we don't know. No, just do it or you're fired. All right, you asked for it, and this is what you get. So now here we are in 2025, shaking our heads at what could have been. Imagine if, instead of taking Mass Effect away from the core BioWare team and giving it to this B team that made Andromeda, imagine if they made good Mass Effect games. You know, how things could have been different. And the path that BioWare has now gone down as a result of bad choices like this. Now you get Dragon Age, Dawn Guard. Was it Dawn Guard? No, it was Railgun. And they make literally every bad fucking choice you could possibly make, making the game incredibly boring, repetitive, nothing interesting going on, then wedging in left-wing politics and culture wars. I mean, they could have still been making good games, but EA fucked them with Anthem. And now they've lost their way, and likely the people who were actually in charge back in the day when they were making Knights of the Old Republic, the original Mass Effect trilogy, and the old Dragon Age games, don't work there anymore. They said, fuck this, I'm not going to keep working at this company where I'm being forced to make garbage like Anthem. So how the mighty have fallen, but in this case you can't blame BioWare. You gotta blame the morons in charge for make this shitty game. And it's sad because you can't even play it after January. The feed that signs don't come, oh well, shut it all down. Wow, what a great attitude to have about art, huh? I just got a dollar tip. One thing to understand about modding is that some games are significantly better for it than others. Rockstar and FromSoft are some of the worst. They make it as difficult as possible. These games have zero mod support. Some PC-centric games, not only can you add mods with a click of a button on a Steam Workshop, but the mods themselves are way more substantial because the devs release mod tools. That's partly why smaller, more niche games have huge modding scenes, but games like Red Dead 2 or Dark Souls modding scenes are dead in comparison. I am totally new to the scene, don't really know much about it. I appreciate the education, and the more that I understand it, the better. Thank you for that information. That's interesting to know. I wonder why. I wonder why some companies are so open to it and others are just so blatantly opposed. Like, here's the thing. Maybe what they should do, like, I can understand, for example, let's say GTA 6 comes out. Okay? Arguably, you probably want that game to be kind of protected for a while. It's a brand new game in your IP. You want people to be buying it on the various platforms. But I almost feel like after a certain time period passes, now as it becomes a more established title with a legacy, that's when you should start to loosen the grip. You know? Like, for example, GTA 6 is going to come out on consoles first. Fair enough. Then it's going to come out on PC. Okay. Maybe have a time window. And maybe be like, okay, when GTA 6 is like, I don't know, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years old, loosen the grip and say, alright, now we're going to allow mods. Here's some mod tools, here's this. Keep our game alive, right? But what it might be is that Rockstar sees so many dollar signs as a result of keeping the grip that they don't want to loosen it, right? I mean, to this day, GTA Online is printing money. So why would they want people to mod the game and get all that shit for free that you're paying for right now, right? Who would be paying for GTA Online, for the cars, for the houses, for the clothing, for the weapons, for the heists, for the skins? Who would be paying for it if you could just mod it and get it all for free? So I think that's the point, right? I believe that is the point, is if the money keeps printing, the control stays tight.
No.
Now with a game like GTA 4,
No.
I don't think they're making much money. I bought GTA 4 Complete Edition, which is the 4K PC version plus all the DLCs, for $6 on Steam. $5.99. So I don't think they're really missing out on money. You know what I mean? And because since some game creators don't like seeing their art get changed, other game creators like to have people build on their vision, and it really is a preference thing. I can see that too. I can totally see that too. You wouldn't want people to completely change your original intention of what a game was because they modded it and the mod became more popular, right? I can totally understand that. Okay, well, cover. Oh, wait a minute. I missed it. Princess Lunatic 5. Have you seen the new World of Warcraft cinematic? It looks like a machinima animation how far they have fallen. No, I haven't done anything with World of Warcraft in a zillion years. I'm the last person to be in the know about that game. It's Activision Blizzard, and they were already in a tailspin before they were bought out by Microsoft. And now with the insane Visky and non-management of Microsoft, I can just imagine how they're doing. So, not shocking to hear anything like it. Okay. Thank you for the early support. We're at 64 bucks out of the 150 goal. Remember, guys, we are working towards Grillo's Pickles menu at Sonic. If we hit the goal today, we'll be at 44, and then we'll have 6 more to go to do DSP tries at Grillo's Pickles menu. So, for the launch here of the GTA 4 with mods playthrough, let's hit the goals. Let's actually hit 50 goals on the stream. So let's get it going. We only need about 1,000 more, and then we'll do Grillo's Pickles on this very stream. If we hit 50 goals on this stream to celebrate the launch of GTA 4 with mods, all right, we will do Grillo's Pickles today. So let's bring in $1,000 right now. Let's get 100 subs over on Kick. Let's get a $500 tip. Let's get it going. Anyway, back to more serious stuff. Yes, I did hear about this. Sadly, Michael Madsen has passed away. Michael Madsen is the very well-known American actor, mostly Quentin Tarantino films, such as Reservoir Dogs and Kill Bill. But he has a huge filmography. He's done voice acting work. He actually was a voice actor for GTA 3. So, yes, sadly, rest in peace to Michael. Apparently, he had a heart attack. And, he actually was still acting. He's in all these films and everything. He sucks. Yeah, he was. He was the dad in Free Willy. He's done a lot of roles. It's funny. He's one of those actors that he's generational. Where like for one generation, he was like in everything, but you forget, and then you'll just be watching a random movie from like 1993, and you're like, is that fucking Michael Madsen? He was in this movie. I didn't even remember that. And then you watch, it's like he's really good in this movie, and I didn't even remember he was in it. But he's really good in it. He was just like that era, that like 90s to early 2000s era. He was just in everything, and he was really good no matter what he was in. Let's see here. Someone sent me a buck, says, EA should pull a bar, just like they made people do by playing Veilguard. Yes, I think EA owes everyone a bar. For their boneheadedness, thank you, Dominic. Little inside reference to Dragon Age Veilguard. Let's round it up. Okay. Yes, I played Helldivers 2 last year. I did enjoy my time with the game. I played it for like a month and a half, 2 months. I thought it was fun, but eventually the gameplay loop got kind of repetitive and boring for me, mostly because I wasn't playing it with an established team. I was just like dropping in, dropping out with random. So it was fine, it was fun. I get why people love it, but I probably wouldn't go back to it. Am I gonna play Borderlands 4? I don't know yet. I'm undecided. Did I ever play Sci-Fi? The only time I ever played Sci-Fi was last summer. There was a Nintendo World Championship game that released on Switch, and Sci-Fi played one of the challenge run games in that collection, and that's when I played it. I have not actually played it as a regular NES game. So. In a lot of ways, sometimes I feel like Michael Madsen in real life because I have clowns to the left of me and jokers to the right, and I'm stuck here in the middle. That was really bad, but I had to say it. I had to do that as a tribute. I had to do it. All right. I know that was really bad. People were like, "No, he did the emo. No, why did he do that? Why?" I know it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. All right, I apologize. Will I buy snakeskin cowboy boots from your next reward? Sure, why not? Wear them on stream. I'll lift up my foot and instead of a colored sock like this, it would be a snakeskin. On that, I think sadly that would make my feet sweat and be uncomfortable. Probably wouldn't want to wear snakeskin boots, just to be honest. Is Geese in CVS 2? Yes, he is, Geese Howard. And I did use him at one point for a bit. I think he's a decent character, pretty much put higher mid-tier, lower high tier, but I haven't used him since I started playing CVS 2 again. I never got back to it. Exactly. Wear boots indoors, you get swamp feet. It's disgusting. Stinky, sweaty feet. Ugh. Nasty. How do I lift up my foot like that without showing leg? Like this. Hey, mate. Well, being flexible. try it sometime. When you're unhealthy, you can't do that. You're excited for GTA 4 with mods? Me too, King Michael. I hope it runs smoothly. I hope we don't have any technical issues and crashes. I don't know. We'll find out as we play, but we'll see. Hope it works well. It looks like a prosthetic leg. It does. Yes, I just have a prosthetic leg that I sit around here on the floor, and I lift it up on whenever I want. See, it's prosthetic. That's why I can wiggle the toe. I'm like Dalcy. That's right. Dum, 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 dum. Look out, here comes a foot. Oh, 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 oh. Oh. Dum, 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 dum. Anyway. No, I did not see the Bandai Namco showcase. They had a showcase. I didn't even know it existed. I didn't know who they did with. Would I consider playing Night Raid again? No one really cares about Night Raid, so I don't care. Like, I bought the game, I played it for about a week, where I used some of the classes, used all of them, I used a bunch of them. And then after that last run, we just got busy with other games, new games came out. And since then, there's been little to no demand for Night Raid. And the thing is, I told you guys that after when it came out, that would happen. I said, I guarantee you this will not be like Elden Ring or Dark Souls. This is going to be a game that comes out, we all enjoy it, playing on the street, and right to the max, no one will care. And that's exactly what happened. It's a multiplayer-only game, not a, stupid survival type style. It's not a bad game, don't get me wrong. I just don't think that that's the kind of game that you guys are going to enjoy watching me play over and over, Does YouTube Premium help the channel? Yes, it does. When you use YouTube Premium and you watch someone's channel, I receive credit as if you were watching this channel full ads enabled. So you're watching with YouTube Premium actually does support the channel, and I thank you. What's my shoe size? 13. Sometimes I can go like 12 and a half, but usually it's around 13. I am giant. said, hope you have a good July 4th tomorrow. But I, for one, am disgusted with America in its current state, and I wish for its immediate death. Wow. I will say this. There are things very wrong with America. But at the same time, our country is resilient. Our country tends to bounce back. And I think that, I feel hopeful that we will improve and get better as long as we don't talk. We're definitely not perfect. There's a lot of things wrong that are trying to be fixed or swapped or changed. But man, we have a lot of things that we take for granted. What I find hilarious is when there's people sitting online on social media complaining about how their freedom is taken away. Like, do you know what it's like the rest of the world? Have you ever been to the East? Have you ever seen what it's like in Russia or China? You think that it's bad in America, you're going to sit here and complain that your life is awful. You'd be persecuted if you lived in parts of the world. But you're going to sit here and bitch like you don't have it here? That's pretty entitled. These people who sit around with literally nothing to complain about, who whine the loudest about shit, it's pretty ridiculous and pretty ungrateful for the things that America gives you on a daily basis, and you completely take for granted. Okay? Anyway. Gay man just did a $2 super chat and says suffer gay. So gay man isn't so just so you guys know. Okay. Alright, thanks. I consider trying beer like good craft beer, not mainstream light slop. Here's the thing about beer. It's a lot of calories, right? And if I'm gonna drink, I prefer to get the effects of the liquor without pumping insane amounts of calories into my body that I don't need. Like back in the day, I did drink beer and stuff. It's one of the reasons why I was on weight. So that's why I don't drink soda. So I probably wouldn't want to drink beer. Fozzie did a $2 super chat. Trump made America great and it deserves respect. I don't think Trump made America great either. I do think that people tend to go way to the extreme. It wasn't Trump alone. Oh, it was Trump. He did everything. How about that? Why would I do that? NJZ says, would you consider painting the walls in your room a different color? Why would I ever do that? Having the wall be this off-white allows my background to pop. Look how awesome the light goes on the wall because it's that color. If I painted it a different color, then the lighting wouldn't look nearly as good. So I'm actually fortunate that the walls in this office are stuff. Try Dragon's Milk. It tastes like chocolate milk and it's actually a stout beer. Oh wow. Dragon's Milk. Interesting. To me, Guinness almost tastes like chocolate. I like
Got
Guinness
it.
a lot. I just never drink it.
OMG,
But when I
you got
drink
it.
back to that. But you have to do it right. You have to get it with that head. If you don't get it with the proper head, then you're not doing it right. Am I excited for Donkey Kong Bonanza? Heck yes. Like I said, to me, it looks like what Super Mario Odyssey's sequel would have been if they actually made a sequel to Super Mario Odyssey. So I don't know what happened, why they didn't make one, but this is good, and I think this will satiate that desire to get really good water. No, I never tried to roller skate in my life. hired somebody, that's right. I was the absolute first person ever to make a Let's Play. For sure. Undisputable. And so many people have copied me over the years. If you like any content creator who started after the year of 2010, anyone after 2010, they owe it to me. Alright? Thank you for giving me my flowers. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Discover 83. 83 bucks of support and climbing. Thank you guys. Hell, at this point, if we hit the goal by the end of the podcast, we're close. If we hit the goal by the end of the podcast, we're at 44 out of 50. Then we only have 6 more to hit during the GTA 4 live stream to get through tries at Phil's Pickle venue. Let's do it. Let's do it today. Beautiful, right? Can I increase the mic gain by a decibel? A single decibel? Why need to do that?
I could.
Is the mic sounding too low? Because it looks fine in my setup. It actually needs to start to hit red. So if I go a decibel, it actually will hit red more often. I probably won't do that when I'm pulling it out. Would I ever travel to Ukraine?
No.
No. I'm going to play Splatoon 3 again. Splatoon 3.
No.
Yeah, I'm going to play Splatoon 3 again. What do I think of the Renaissance?
No.
No.
I don't think about the Renaissance.
I don't think about the Renaissance. He said no. I don't think about the Renaissance.
When I go to India and live for $100,000 a year in tips from streaming.
No.
Am I gonna play Kingdom Hearts 4? Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. Kingdom Hearts 3 suck ass. I hope that 4 is good, but I'm not feeling it's fun. So it's a maybe. When is the next demo day? I don't
No.
I can't answer. What's going on, Alex? Phoenix? How you doing, man? I'm excited knowing that Donkey Kong Bonanza is being developed by the team who made Mario Odyssey.
No.
The only reason I didn't know that until right now. So I couldn't have been excited if I didn't know that knowledge. Now that I have that knowledge, I am excited. That's cool.
Hope he wins. Hope he wins. No, wait. I need to win. Okay, it's the last game.
Danzak did a $5 super chat. I heard
I
something
needed
about
him
the
and
Roman
over
Empire law.
Dragon
I think about the
5
Roman
6, I
Empire
believe.
regularly.
No.
I think about it often, not regularly.
Right?
What is going on? Thank you for the chat. Can we game now?
No.
We're still in the podcast, but we could game soon, but not yet. Old Ugly Bastard did a $10 super chat. Stop killing games past today. Huge win for game preservationists. Companies like Ubisoft won't be able to destroy always
Oh,
online
wow.
games like The Crew by pulling the servers anymore. Alright, well. Great. Thank you for 10 bucks. Old Ugly Bastard, thank you for the news. Now, will I actually be playing The Crew now that it's being preserved?
No.
Absolutely not. I would not play The Crew, but maybe some people want to. Jade's here. He says, you know, I'm not a big fan of GTA, maybe a little. Well, stick around, see if you like the playthrough today, and if not, it's all good. So hopefully you like it. What do I think about India? Well,
No.
excuse me.
Sorry,
Would I
bud.
ever travel to Italy to learn about my heritage?
I wasn't looking at chat. I was sweating. Sorry. Yeah, we can play F-Zero right now. Let me go, how is it 3 o'clock, dude? Just kicked ass in Pokemon Auto Chess. Sure, I can play F-Zero. I was having too much fun playing F-Zero last night. Um, I'm gonna go eat a snack real quick. I'll be back. Let me just set up the game. That was a really good Unite game. Almost, auto chess game. I almost lost. I hope our friend is still here. I was sweating. I wasn't paying attention to chat. I usually don't get chats. I think I'm 8 minutes short. You like F-Zero, huh? I'm glad there's people who like F-Zero. The game is so fun. I was doing way better than I should have last night. I feel like I was cooking, dude. I need to eat, though.
Well, 4. And people said, hey, we'd like to see you play it again on there. But when I started playing it, immediately we realized this isn't going to be so fun because it's identical to the first run with better graphics and better frame rate. So people said, well, what's a gimmick that you could do to make it different? And the answer was play it in first person because you could do that on PS4. You couldn't do it on the originals on Xbox 360 and PS3. So we started doing that, but even then, after a few streams, people got very bored. They stopped showing up. So we're complaining it was boring. So I dropped the playthrough because people were not watching it. You know, people wanted some other stuff, so we moved on. So, Ricari did a $10 super chat. And Ricari says, RimWorld is a good game, but it is totally not for your style or audience. It's just my advice. Did you see that YouTube says as of July 15th, restreamers that aren't transformative will be demonetized? We already talked about that, Ricari. So the funny part about that is YouTube did an addendum and claims, oh, that's not even a change to our policy. That's always been in effect. So the question is, if it's always been in effect, then why have they allowed it for so long? It very well could be that now they're just saying they're finally going to enforce their own rules. I don't know. But like I said earlier, you know what's going to happen is on this day when it goes into effect, anyone who is restreaming is going to be mass flagged because people are going to want to see if this works or not. And it'll go from there. Maybe YouTube will actually enforce their policies and maybe they won't. I'm going to be doing my own thing as always. I'll be making original content. I'm not going to be restreaming anyone, so I'm not worried. But everyone on the planet restreams me. They should probably be worried because you know people are going to be mass flagging each other. You have to understand something about the troll community. These idiots attack each other on a regular basis. They do. They try to thwart each other and one-up each other. They're morons. So I guarantee you they're going to be trying to take each other down and doing fucked up stuff. I'll be sitting here making my own content, just watching the world burn around me because it's not even my world. Remember, this whole weird orbiting world of morons around me, I have nothing to do with that. Habib did a £7, 33-cent super chat, which is the equivalent of $10 USD, which means as of right now, it is absolute, positive, 100% official. Ladies and gentlemen, we have hit my support goal for this stream before we even finished the podcast. We are at 44 goals out of 50 hit. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for filling the king's coffers. Thank you for paying the tax. Thank you for supporting my content in droves. I appreciate you so very much. And here's to another great stream here on DSP Gaming. Let's keep it rolling. Let's get that Grillo's Pickle menu as soon as we can. Thank you all. I really appreciate you. All right. So I was going to end the show, but I got more contributions coming in. Someone tipped $2 says, I miss your old school style of videos. Before live streaming, I'm old school like that. Well, the thing is, I did it for a long time, right? I did that style from 2008 all the way through 2017. So I totally understand if you like that content. I mean, you have to understand that thing had to evolve and change. I couldn't continue to be an offline style creator to survive. I just couldn't. I had to evolve. Right now, most of my income comes from streams, whether it's super chats, memberships, subs, tips, and now some of the partner revenue that I get from viewers over on Kick. Like, that's the majority of my income. Do I make on-demand style ad revenue? Yeah, I do, but it's definitely not the vast majority of income that I make. It's a small portion of this bigger pot that I get. So if I wasn't a live streamer with crowdfunding, I'd be out of business. Why? Because literally everyone has stolen my content. What we're talking about right now with YouTube. People live restreaming, people ripping my videos and re-uploading them right away. Therefore, they get the initial views. So because of that, I never would have been able to have a living the way that I do today. It's their fault. They've stolen that from me by breaking the law. I had to become an interactive live streamer to survive, so thankfully I did. But I get what you're saying. It was definitely a different thing back then when it was just me and the game, hanging out, playing it, focused on it, with no interaction. Okay. Oops, what did I do? I really need to end the show. I really do. I got a $1.30 tip from Toxic Toilet Juice. He said detractors are leaking out of their pants in terror. There you go. Again, I have nothing to do with it. I want to make this abundantly clear. I am going to be sitting here making content normally as I always do. I will not be involved in anything. I'm just going to do par for the course. What happens with these people blatantly violating copyright law happens, and that's their own fault, you know? If something happens, maybe it won't. Because like I said, YouTube is claiming they had these policies in place already. I don't see anything changing. Do you really think that YouTube hired a whole bunch of new people to enforce their own rules? I don't think so. So I don't think things will change, but... Okay. All right, folks, let's actually end the show. Now, a reminder, tomorrow is the big Indivestance Day event. There will not be a podcast tomorrow. We will hang out, we'll talk and chill, but it will not be a formal podcast. And I'm not here until Monday, so there will not be a podcast until early next week. But I want to say thank you. It's been a great week of content. We had some good news stories to cover. We had great discussion, great support, no matter what I was doing. You guys are absolutely outstanding. And I appreciate every one of you who comes by and supports DSP Gaming. I wish you the best. Have a fun weekend. Obviously, I hope to see you tomorrow for the marathon. But if not, I'll see you fresh and early next week. Peace out, everyone. See you then. Okay, well, folks, let's get set up. To be honest, I don't know what to do with things like the leaderboard and stuff for GTA 4. We won't know till I put it. I'm trying to remember. Like, I know there's subtitles at the bottom of the screen, but there's also shit at the top of the screen. So I don't know. I guess let's start this at the bottom and see how it goes. And if it ends up blocking stuff, then I guess we could just move it to the top. Do it like that. And let's see here. You should pop up and see what happens there. All right, a couple things. Lights off, cover on. Gotta take a break before we start. Okay. Oops. That's not what I wanted. No. Lights off. Cover on.
I'm warming up. I'm warming up.
Okay. Here we go. Alrighty, folks. In the meantime, enjoy some highlight clips. I'll be back in a few minutes with the premiere of GTA 4 with mods live here on DSP Gaming.
never played that track in my life.
I actually laughed audibly. Pete goes home. He's in his house in Forest Hills. Remember, Aunt May moved, but they're still in the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
Pops into the window. It's nighttime. Aunt May knows that Peter's Spider-Man, so it's okay for him to come and go now.
Right.
Opens the window. Gwen's there because she lives there, and then they start making out. What?
But I thought he was with Mary Jane.
Right? But it's a time go. But it's been 6 whole months. No. Forever. I hate it in every respect. No.
No, it's not like a fake out.
No, it is not a fake out.
Yeah, it's not like a dream or like, hey, how do I look blonde and with a black headband?
Right? Yeah. No. Yeah, because everyone has the same face. No. Gwen and Pete, in the 6 months since Ultimatum, are hooking up. And Aunt May just is oblivious to it, I guess. She's aware they're dating, but she is like not
Gwen
aware.
live with them?
Yeah.
That's awkward.
Very. Also, it's awkward because 6 months, like, Pete torpedoed his relationship with Kitty to be with MJ.
Yeah.
And then after everyone dies in Ultimatum, they just break up and he's like, well, I guess you're here. Like, ah! Also, the way that they treated the relationship between Pete and Gwen was very brother-sister.
Yeah.
Not in a literal sense like Star Wars, but at the very least, you could, like, I guess Bendis like, oh, grow up.
Yeah.
You put 2 teenagers in the house together.
They're gonna hook
They're
up.
gonna hook up. I don't care what kind of shared trauma they have. They're gonna bang.
It's Peter and it's Gwen. Like, they gotta
There
hook
has to
up
be,
at
he
some
has to
point.
have sexual stakes
Yeah.
in Gwen. It can't just be that he's sad that he led to her death like he did before.
Right.
Now she can die all over again. He can be even more sad because he can't have sex with her anymore.
Right.
What?
She died before she was his girlfriend.
Right,
We were
right.
robbed of that moment
Yes.
where he curses out Green
Now,
Goblin
that
for
being
murdering.
said, I am thankful to say, and I think I'm not telling tales out of school here, that the only time
Oh my god.
after the Carnage incident that Gwen Stacy dies is when the whole universe blows up.
Right.
Like, she dies in the exact same moment that Aunt May dies and everyone else.
Yeah,
it's
and
okay.
she dies, but so does everybody else.
Right, like, Spider-Man can't be like, no, because he's dead
He
too.
dies before, yeah.
So it's okay.
Wait, is he dating Gwen when he dies?
No.
Okay, so she doesn't get a moment to go like,
No.
curse you, whoever killed
I mean, she's gonna be sad,
Right.
you know, presumably.
Because, well, like, unless they ended on bad terms.
Right?
We don't know.
Well, I mean, how could they not?
You know, it's interesting that
So wait.
they drew Peter who looks younger than he did before.
Yes.
Yes.
That's LaFuente's style.
He was getting a little too old.
Right, we gotta dial it back. It's only been
One
1
ride.
year since Ultimate Spider-Man 1 started.
Yeah, but how long did Ultimate Spider-Man happen?
Years.
Exactly.
Multiple years, yes. So Pete and Gwen make out a little bit, and then he comes downstairs, talks to Aunt May, the doorbell rings, and Johnny Storm is at the door. And he's like, hey, there's no more Fantastic Four, because, like, Reed is slowly on his way to becoming the Maker, and our house was wrecked, even though Manhattan's pristine again, and I don't know if, like, I want to be on the Fantastic Four. You know, like,
Getting weird.
it's getting weird. And I get it, Johnny. Especially in this point in the Ultimate Fantastic Four history. Like, you should leave. And he's like, I was just kind of thinking I could like stay with you guys. He like passes out. He hasn't been.
You're taking wayward children?
Right? You've done this. Look, you got Gwen here.
I'm like a wayward 20-something?
No, he's. I think he's probably at maximum 3 years older than them, maybe 2. Pete's 15, so he might be 18 or more like 17. I know, but trust me, he isn't. Like, he's around Peter's age. It would be frustrating and weird to be that age and hang around with him, but as an adult looking back, going, they're practically the same age. Like,
What's the difference between 15 and 18?
right, like every time we saw a senior hooking up with a freshman, we were like, gross! I'm gonna call the cops! So Johnny appears on their front doorstep and he's like, hey, and he passes out. Because he's like been awake, he hasn't stopped being Human Torch and doing Ultimate Fantastic Four shit since Ultimatum. And so,
Oh, that's what happened to all the seawater. He boiled it all away.
yeah, he just burned it all, and they were like, oh, thank you. And he's like,
I'm sorry for all the salt, though.
So Johnny passes out, and they're like, oh, jeez, what are we gonna do with this? So you're like, oh, we're setting up a new status quo here. Aunt May is gonna be like a halfway house for wayward teenage superheroes.
Yeah.
By the way, as a kid reading this, yes. I was like, yes, more. Add more. More
How
characters.
many bedrooms does she have, though?
I mean,
How big is this house?
it's big enough, as big as it needs to be. There's a moment where they talk about like logistics, and you know, Pete was living in the basement, but had a bedroom. And Gwen had another bedroom. So there's at least 3 additional bedrooms. There's the attic, the basement, and Pete's original room. So the way Pete worked was, he's like, I'll sleep in the attic, and Johnny can sleep in my actual room. But we are gonna add one more superhero, at least, to this little wayward team.
I really hope it's like someone who's good at cooking.
It is not.
I was gonna be like, Aunt May can open up a pancake house.
Oh
Like,
my-
Aunt May's wheat cakes.
I love it. Yes.
And some like sous chef in the back, just
does.
like a line chef.
Yeah, right? She does make wheat cakes, or at least pancakes. I don't know if wheat cakes really factor into the ultimate version of Aunt May, but let's say that panned cakes are made for the kids by Aunt May in this book, though they are not identified as to whether they are wheat or pan. That being said, it's not relevant. Kingpin comes back. Whoa. And I love it because
you
you're
mean
like,
Babyface?
that's right, Babyface Kingpin is back, and he is pissed because if you recall, he was accused of murdering Moon Knight during the Ultimate Night Saga. Like, he was basically, yeah, he was arrested. And because all the records of every crime in New York were washed away, Fisk, now listen, I agree.
They only had physical records.
I mean, here's what I'm saying. I'm saying that
No one remembers what happened.
who cares if they're dead? If you kill every witness and you have a hacker erase all digital data, and so the only thing left are hard copies.
Was he never convicted?
No, he was.
Well, then that's it.
Well, but we never see what happens. So what we get instead is that because of the flood, Fisk is back. He wasn't in Manhattan at the time.
Like,
Oh,
look,
okay.
millions of people died. We gotta repopulate.
Right.
We need all the
Get all the
set
bodies into
criminals
this.
free
No,
and,
there's no.
and bring them in.
And he counts as like 4.
Yeah. Look, he's a businessman. He'll help rejuvenate the city or some shit.
There's no like work release program. It's that Fisk manipulates the law, and now he's back. Okay, he's Spider-Man's best villain
Right.
in this entire
Why
effing
did
series.
you imprison him?
Because he has to go to jail. We have to prove that Peter's right at least once in a while. And I wrote myself into a corner, okay? Matt Murdock literally had his dying wife's throat in his hands. We didn't know what to do with these characters, all right? So he had to go to jail. Or whatever, I don't know. He's back though. And then Mysterio shoots him out a window and he dies. Kingpin's dead. Don't worry about him anymore. He literally never comes back. This is the last appearance of the Kingpin in the Ultimate Universe.
Oh my god.
What's even more frustrating is
What?
It's Ultimate Mysterio, which because we covered Spider-Man before this, we know the secret identity of Ultimate Mysterio. It's 616 Marvel Universe Prime Mysterio,
Right.
using a robot avatar body to hang out in the other universe. So a Mysterio from another reality is like, hey, kill, and then just takes over his job.
What?
I promise you, Bendis had no idea who Ultimate Mysterio was. when he invented him. There's no effing way, because the interest that Ultimate Mysterio has in what he's doing, like why are you doing this?
Why would
What
Mysterio
is so
do
much
that?
effort? Like, Mysterio is former special effects man. Why would he want to go to the universe and become a kingpin of crime? Like,
I assume it's part of his master plan.
what master plan? What's
How do you
great
tell
is
me?
actually if you look at like his Wikipedia, because Mysterio is technically both universes Mysterios.
Yeah.
So you have to explain like when he was defeated in the main universe, then he like snuck off to a warehouse and then like puppeted the robot body in the other universe, just hung out in like a haptic feedback room, like in Ready Player One. He's just in a van somewhere, just doing stuff in the Ultimate Universe. And then when he got bored of that, just went like, oh, I guess I'll be Mysterio in the main universe. And like, I love that he is like, well, I'm done being cool, new, modern Mysterio in that universe. Now I'm gonna put my fishbowl back on and my big purple cape and just go for it. No! And never reference it.
So here's the
Also,
question.
make sure I never reference the fact that I was not a
Right. Does Mysterio only operate at night? Because if Mysterio
kinda.
himself
Yeah.
in 616
Yeah.
was awake during the day, and then he just goes to sleep, and this is like a weird part of his subconscious puppeting in it?
Yeah. It's just,
That would work.
yeah, his id is puppeting this freaking thing. That'd be actually kind of amazing. It's an active decision he's making, but I'm more than okay with greenlighting that pitch of it's just being Ultimate Mysterio is his subconscious fucking around in the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah, it's like time dilation. Where like when you're asleep, like you're asleep for an hour, but you can have like an 8-hour long
Exactly.
dream in your brain.
There's no way that anyone but Bendis was on board for this concept. Like in Spider-Man, they ultimately find Mysterio in the main universe, and then they get him and they arrest him in the Ultimate Universe. And he's like, I'm not supposed to be here. And they're like, well, you're going to jail. And I'm like, what are we gonna do in main Spider-Man books if we want to use Mysterio? Like, explain that he hopped universes? Like, what? I mean, like, it's very
Well, they
easy.
could,
You could
yeah.
just do that.
Yeah.
Like, Mysterio's here, and Spider-Man's like, weren't you arrested in another universe? And he's like, yep. And that's the end of it. Like, if we reference that, I'll give you a gold star.
Yeah, he'll get a no prize.
Not
Yeah.
reference it.
which is what they did.
Yeah.
The
And
one-
it's like, well, he doesn't show up all that often.
However,
You see him every couple of years.
They do use him later in the Ultimate Universe when Galactus appears in the Ultimate Universe. Now, they did invent an Ultimate Galactus called Galactus. Brilliant. They ask Mysterio, they're like, hey, you're from like another universe? Who is that? He's like, oh shit! That's Galactus! I really have to leave now!
You have to let me go. I don't belong here. I'm not supposed to die here.
I'm not gonna be eaten by my Galactus on another Earth!
I'm
That's,
gonna get eaten by my Galactus. It's gonna be on my Earth.
that's right,
Because on my Earth, someo's gonna stop it.
Yeah.
Why is the Fantastic Four fucking do something about it?
Yeah, they won't be whatever the hell they are now. Where like Benjamin J. Grimm's thing body is actually a
Oh, I
cocoon. And then when it
I was messing
explodes,
around
he's just Ben Grimm, but he's glowy. It's like, no.
What?
No. I liked that idea when I first read it, but then I was like, no. But I miss Ben.
What?
Right, but then what? And they're like, well, this is all gonna get canceled anyway, who cares? And it's like, yeah, but like not now. You're still doing it now. Anyway, so he basically tells them like, whoa, you just gotta get Reed. Reed will fix it. That's all I know though, because like, I wasn't there.
But it's not like Reed told everybody what he did.
No, Reed didn't like issue a press release about him, because that would have been a problem.
So how did you defeat the giant monster in the sky?
Oh, well, you see, it actually took a little bit of good old-fashioned gumption and a heaping pile of clobbering time, right, Ben?
Yeah, sure. That's less existentially horrifying than you did, so yeah.
What? No more questions. No, what we actually did was sneak aboard his ship and find a small remote control sized device that could end the universe. And what I said to him was, I'm gonna push the button that does it if you don't get the fuck off my lawn. And he believed me.
And where's this device now?
Well, I gave it back to him.
What?
Well, he wasn't gonna push it. He was so afraid of it. I mean, and I got it from him anyway. It's fair.
Well, let me ask you this. What's to stop him from just coming back and eating the Earth a second time?
Well,
since you gave him the device back.
I'm glad you asked that.
Yeah, what if he comes back and leaves the device at home?
Well, he actually did. We had to send Johnny through like this insane rift through reality itself to get it. It was actually really hard. That said,
give away a weapon? of such
Right.
incredible power
Well-
to a maniac who wants to destroy the Earth?
Well,
What's wrong with
There's
you? Are you
two-
some kind of commie?
oh, no, I see. Yeah, right. Because it's like the late 60s, yeah. Because I was going to say, I mean, the fact remains, he is amoral. Like, he doesn't have sides or belief. You know, he is a force of nature, really. So, these just collections. He didn't build that thing. Could you?
Wouldn't you?
Would I? No.
You've already built it, haven't you?
I built 3. One that doesn't kill the user.
One that. Oh.
And potentially anyone who's standing right next to me, like maybe 3 other people.
Yeah, no, it has a little thing I can punch in who I don't want to annihilate.
Oh my god. Wait, so you have a thing that can kill any one or many people?
I could kill-
depending on your whims.
Yeah, you could kill any one or all.
Yes.
You're welcome. So Ultimate Mysterio is introduced in the Ultimate Book, and you're like, oh shit! And he killed Wilson Fisk, who so he means business. He might even be more cool than he never will be. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
He'll never justifiably be interesting. Fair. So, what is Ultimate Mysterio's plan? Nebulous and vague. He seems to be a byproduct of the Ultimatum. He survived the attack. And he's like, oh, everything's meaningless and God is dead. I guess I'll just make a suit that can make me look like a ghost. I'll just roll in and take shit over. Like, that's his whole thing, is that he is a nihilist.
Okay.
He's a late-stage capitalist.
That's a shame, because if he was just like, if he had a little bit more meaning and purpose, he also could have doubled as the Shroud.
Well, that's actually interesting. He's like, I want to help people, but I know they don't deserve it. And so he's like Mysterio and the Shroud.
Well, I think
Whoa!
people are fundamentally bad, so there's no reason to help.
Yeah, but they're also helpless, and so I have to try. And it's like, that's kind of a neat idea. I don't know how sustainable it is, but it could have at least lasted this volume. That said, instead, no. Don't forget, he's vacationing as main Mysterio in this Ultimate Universe.
This is so not Mysterio. He says, but you keep calling me Mysterio. I like that. I would never have come up with that name myself. It's out there now, and I like it. Mysterio.
Yeah. What?
You are Mysterio.
But you,
supposedly.
you're the Mysterio.
How
What?
could you never have come up with your own name?
No, he's just being theatrical. He's just establishing his alibi.
I'm speaking ironically.
I want anyone to know, if they were listening to me, that I'm not really Mysterio. Why would the real Mysterio ever say that?
Would the real Mysterio please stand up?
But this world doesn't know about the real Mysterio.
They don't even know about the other universe.
Of them thinking
No, what if it was just like, no one said it, and he's just looks like, anyway, I gotta get my name started. Oh, but you keep calling me Mysterio. Nobody said that.
Yeah. Honestly,
Strange, I've never heard it before.
did you say? I didn't say anything like that. That's why would he even get Mysterio? I
Well,
got Ghost.
Mysterio it is.
Well, it rolls on the
People have
tongue so
spoken.
well, Mysterio.
I mean, like that's the canon reason. I feel like I didn't hear anybody. I would have remembered a name like
I mean, he's
Mysterio.
talking as if it definitely happened, so we must have just.
They might as well call him the Gaslighter, because like that's how he gets his famous now. So, okay, so that's Mysterio's MO, is he confusingly establishes who he is, and he's gonna take what's his, even if it ain't. Yay. Also, he seems to have like, you know, a vlogger setup.
Yeah.
You know, he's like
He's
obsessed
got
with
a lot of cameras.
He's obsessed with cameras, like, and I get it. Like, you know what? That is an ultimate version of Mysterio. It's like he's obsessed with cameras. He's obsessed with like coverage. He's a late 2000s version of an influencer. Like, yeah, I get that concept. Is it better than real Mysterio just dropping into the Ultimate Universe? I say no. That said, it was good enough for us back then. So then, Peter, as Spider-Man, is drowning. And as he's trying to reach the surface, he is surrounded by the bodies of all the superhero community. And then he wakes up and he's like, oh man, do I have PTSD? Don't worry, he doesn't. Those dreams are over, he won't have them anymore. But he
you
will,
do.
But he will right here, right now, and you'll think, is this gonna be a problem? And it'll be exactly as much of a problem as when Mary Jane used to threaten that she'll turn into that hairy monster version of herself.
Yeah.
I like the idea that like it's real, and so he's like, oh no!
Subconsciously incorporated the rain.
Because that was what harbinged Ultimatum, was the rain. Like, yeah, that's pretty cool. Again, we're gonna
It would
do
be
anything
cool
with that?
if there was anything behind it.
Right. I mean, like,
their purpose too.
Oh no, there's no purpose. I mean, outside of like it being a cool visual and us not having enough pages of Spider-Man doing anything. And so yeah, I'm gonna have to put Spider-Man in a costume in a dream suit.
That track sucks.
It's fortunate for Bendis that so much of this is so good, because there's a lot of shit like that.
Yeah.
Where it's like you introduce like pretty serious stuff,
Yeah.
and then it just never pays off.
No.
And
Or
that,
it,
like infuriates me.
it would be
Making
very frustrating.
Mary Jane a beast, and then never like. Why did you do that?
Right, yeah,
Like, you had no plan for that? You had no business making that decision if you had no
no,
plan.
I had no plan for it, and I have no inclination to do anything with it.
I don't think you understand. She was always a beast. She was a woman.
It's metaphorical.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just wanted to make a point in that moment.
What? And it's like, no, he wanted that moment to have stakes, and there weren't enough.
Right.
So he was like, how about Mary Jane gets transformed by Ultimate
permanently
Kane
changed.
into
How about
being
that?
a beast? And it's like, okay,
I feel like that would have severe repercussions in her future.
Nope. Well, let me. Oh, I kind of like that. So how about they cure her, and then we'll end the issue with her having these kind of tremors, and then we'll never pay them off ever again.
What were the tremors?
Those tremors were a suggestion that perhaps she might regress back into the beast.
Yeah.
Does she?
No.
Will she ever again?
No. And then the world war.
I mean, maybe she was going to.
I mean, we don't know because other people made decisions for me about that.
Why don't you go ruin Superman?
So Kitty Pryde is at school, Midtown High, and because racism is legal and cool, people are just chucking shit at her because she's a mutant and like she drowned Manhattan, so just throwing things at her. And, she's just letting them hit her until eventually she phases, and then things are flying through her, and then the principal comes over and he's like, "You're legally not allowed to use your powers. You're gonna have to probably be suspended for using powers. So it's not okay." But before that happens, of course, her now ex-boyfriend Kong, because we set up that like Kenny, Kong, former butt monkey to Flash Thompson,
Right.
is motivated by how cool Peter is, how he knows he's Spider-Man, and how hot Kitty is, to start like doing push-ups and hanging out with the gang. In fact, the last time we saw Kenny was with the group on a day trip to Manhattan when the rain came. Now, Kenny has a punk rock look to him with like a mohawk, and he and Kitty aren't together anymore.
I think there's just commentary
Could
on
not win. They were that
relationships when you're in high school are unstable.
Yes. Yeah,
We're
that's
just reinforcing that at every possible moment.
right. Like, yes, you're watching these characters who you are rooting for, and so like it's not probably statistically or emotionally going to work.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't really be rooting for it, actually.
Yeah, you're weird for thinking these
Children
relationships
are
should
going
last.
to right. Like it's weird that we have romanticized this teenage romance thing because statistically it won't, and it's actually not a good idea for them to only be with one person for their entire lives, starting at the age of when they hit puberty.
Yeah, but when I add the names Peter and Mary Jane to it,
We're done.
That's the thing. Why did you introduce Mary Jane if you wanted to do that?
Right, like Peter meets Mary Jane in college.
Yeah. You
Like-
didn't have to do this.
No, but
You
also
didn't have to make it weird.
No.
He could have dated a bunch of random people.
or some established people.
Oh yeah.
Ultimate version of those
Actually existed
characters.
in real life.
Like he could have dated anyone, like Sissy Ironwood or Deborah Whitman or Betty Brant or any number of characters, but instead it's Mary Jane, Kitty Pryde, Gwen Stacy,
well, Mary Jane.
well,
and
Mary
then Mary Jane again.
Gwen Stacy.
And then Gwen Stacy.
What did I say?
Mary Jane, Kitty Pryde. Then he goes back to Mary
Yeah,
Jane.
no, I don't count going back.
You have to, because that's why it's so weird.
Yeah, I guess
Not
that's
that doesn't happen, but it's just like
my comic book addled brain. Like in high school, I dated a girl my freshman year, and then we broke up my freshman year, and then I dated one or two other people, and so did she. And then senior year, we got back together. we're resuming the previous relationship.
Right.
As far as my brain is concerned.
Right.
We're not starting a brand new relationship.
Yeah. I thought you were going for how silly it was that it's like Mary Jane, then
Kitty,
then Mary Jane again,
Yeah, no, like,
then
that's
Gwen Stacy,
ridiculous.
and then Mary Jane, then Mary Jane again,
No.
because that is insane.
That's insane. You don't need to catalog it like that.
Yeah.
Just be like, he dated Mary Jane and these other people, but ended up with Mary Jane at the end of it. That's all you need to say.
Yeah.
Wow, that's why.
It's also tanned by the fact that like we know he's ended up with her, so it's like, what are you doing?
Well, we don't know that. I mean, when you're reading this, you don't know.
I know,
But
but
you
that's like
really do.
But it's Mary Jane to make you think that it is. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been Mary Jane. It would be anyone.
Well, right, like the movies. Like, there's
Yes.
3 movies about how Mary Jane and Peter are meant to be together.
Yes.
Not even Bryce Dallas Howard can stop it.
Bryce Dallas Howard in a wig.
A very convincing wig. So Kenny is in a horribly embarrassing phase in his life. I'm like, just like, man, you know, it's like, whatever. But Kenny,
He's into like late 80s, early 90s British punk.
yes,
Yeah, he's a rebel.
yeah. He heard the Clash once and was like, holy shit. This dude's
My
been
whole identity.
this guy's been listening to Smash Mouth his entire life. One time he caught the tail end of London Calling and was like, this is me now, which is so accurate it's not even funny.
Yeah.
Like, folks, I don't, like, you need to understand that when we didn't have the whole experience of the human condition in our pockets, and that everyone on the planet was updating you about what they're doing at any given moment, this is how teenagers reacted to things.
Yeah, there
They
were
still-
pockets and niches of things.
And you still do, by the way, but you are more heavily influenced by the bubbles you create from the rectangle in your pocket. And that's why Kenny has an embarrassing purple mohawk. So then the principal shows up, because, like, look, they're throwing burgers and fries at this girl. It's fucked up and terrible. She phases, it goes through him. Then Kenny hits no fewer than 4 people in the head with a table. And then the principal shows up. And the principal's like, I heard something. Like, what is going on? As a result of Ultimatum, any Manhattan school that was in the path of the wave was destroyed. Midtown High is choked with like 1 or 2 other districts of children. And that is impossible. I'm here to tell you, it's impossible. You can kind of tell.
There's a lot of people.
It looks like any school cafeteria. I can imagine it was Herculean by La Fuente to have to draw that many people at once, but I'm just
Yeah.
telling you, that looks as crowded as any midday lunch period in high
They
school.
needed like a wide shot. They needed like a
Yes.
like a shot of the whole cafeteria. You could just see that like, oh, that's too many. There's not
That's too many people. There's not enough chairs.
Where are they gonna sit?
We're getting a lot of apple
Well, that's
boxes.
just it. This isn't even the cafeteria. This is the auditorium.
Right, yeah, right. Like,
Yeah.
that'd be,
Yeah, they're eating.
They're eating on a
plays.
basketball court.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like,
Any
if,
of that.
If the weather is tolerable, you're eating outside. Parking, you can't park here anymore. That's done. It's the cafeteria now. It's just Tent City. It's just a bunch of canopies and benches. Yeah.
That's what would happen.
Wood
That's
shop,
too real.
wood shop, everyone is just making benches and tables now.
For the city of New York.
Yeah. That's actually not a bad idea. I kind
is
of
a
like
good
that.
idea,
Like,
yeah.
if I were Mr. White, I'd be like, dude, we're all just making those like chairs and table things
I
just all day
wouldn't
long.
wanna sit on any of those chairs made in high school shop class.
Listen, you know it's all being supported by the backs of one really dedicated teacher and a couple of very good students. So the principal shows up and he's like, Miss Pratt, you have to come with me. Like, you're the instigator of the situation because you are a mutant,
Right.
and we're working on trying to
You
get.
let those objects phase through your body. You can't do that.
We're trying to get you out of here. Like, you're causing a problem because you're a very public mutant, and you're like, they're gonna do what they're gonna do because that's who they are. And I know that like that could easily be applied to you, but because one of you destroyed all of Manhattan, we're going to demonize you specifically. And so,
Sure. Take me by force.
right. Well, now I'm gonna have to call the police,
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna have to call the National Guard, and then I'm gonna have to call the Ultimates or something.
I'm just saying,
And
go
Captain
ahead. You
America
can
hits you
take
in
me
the
down to
face.
the principal's office.
Yeah.
Go ahead and move me.
Yeah, right. You're expelled. Get out. After all of that, notices that Mary Jane was filming the entire altercation. So she gets way up
Like a
in.
weirdo.
Yeah, like a creep. And MJ, like, she looks.
She's filming it like she's like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, she just saw American Beauty and it changed her life.
It's a plastic bag. You're filming trash.
And so Kitty gets way up in Mary Jane's face and she's like, what the hell's the matter with you? Like, you saw all of that from the beginning to then, and then did nothing. She said, no, I filmed it. I'm gonna make a video. Yeah, I have to be unbiased. Like, I'm going to make a report about the senseless racism that's rampant in our school. And she's like, and of course, this is the demonstration of fundamental ideologies between the two people, right? Because like, MJ's like, I can be more effective at that message if I get it out there. And Kitty's like, what are you doing for me lately? Like, but I'm being persecuted right now. Like, I don't care about what you can do for mutants tomorrow. I'm caring about being affected now.
And thanks for stepping in and telling them to knock it off.
Right, exactly.
Or being a friend.
Yeah, well, I can't do that because I'm filming you see. So, Kitty uses her powers on her camera, destroys it, and then leaves. And but before she goes, she says, well, maybe you can get your boyfriend to buy one. Oh, wait, I just forgot. You don't have one. And then Mary Jane, while she's like crying, goes, well, neither do you. And I'm like, oh, what a great zinger that was, MJ. Like, hitting her where she hurts. Yeah, I'm like, all right, so MJ and Pete are definitely on the outs.
Yeah.
And I guess Kitty is still not talking to Pete.
Is MJ just like a nerd now?
Yeah, oh yeah. She's like, Mary Jane is completely transformed.
What happened?
Well, she was one, but she was blown by back. So it's like, she was a nerd, kind of. They used to call her like Brainy Jane and stuff. And she wore glasses.
Yeah.
Kinda, sometimes. And,
Unless you didn't want.
yes.
Anyway, now she's a mom.
Yeah.
But she's in high school.
Yeah, they turned her into an introvert.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right. Meanwhile, I love this. Two of Pete's ex-girlfriends are like fighting. One of his former new best friends has an embarrassing hair situation that he needs help with.
That was some great
And
racing.
Pete is on the roof with Gwen, just like, I wonder what everyone else is doing. I just got a hand job, so I don't know about anybody else, but things are going swimmingly. Like,
Everything's coming up, Peter.
like, basically, like, I love like, that no effort is made to illustrate that Peter is benefiting from a situation that he really hasn't done anything to warrant or deserve.
Right.
And
What are
everyone.
you talking about? I totally deserve this situation with Gwen.
Yeah.
Based on the last 6 months.
Right.
Oh, you didn't see the last 6 months?
Oh,
well, I should have.
You missed out, yeah, and you never will, by the way. Just trust me and believe the fact that Gwen and Peter getting together is completely justified. Yeah, they're just like on the roof, like they will be. Replace Gwen with MJ though, but not that MJ in No Way Home. Like I remember watching No Way Home, and the other Peters are like, was there like a special place where Peter would go? And I'm like, I have at least 3 or 4 special places in my head where Peter would go in any other reality than this one. I know virtually nothing about this character. And there is no firm establishment of where he lives or what he would do or call home outside of the established roof of the school where he makes out with MJ in the beginning of this very movie. Because in the first movie, he's in the suburbs, which he doesn't live in. In the second movie, he's in effing Venice or something. And then in the third movie, he's finally forgivably in New York.
don't see
and
his
they
home
move him
at
to Long
all.
Island in Happy's house. Like, I don't understand this movie.
You know what it should have been? It should have been the sandwich hut from the first movie.
That would have been fun.
Is there any
Yeah.
place he would go? You know, he really likes this place for their bread and sandwiches.
Yeah, he likes that sandwich place. That would have been cute. I would have been like, that's a callback, baby. So while they're chatting it up, like Pete hears a noise, and so he Spider-Man's up and swings out there, and we get
Oh, there's always a noise whenever it's time to clean up.
Don't worry, I'll take care of the picnic stuff.
yeah, you go on in Spider-Man.
I don't mind.
And Pete's mad because he's like, I have a lab. I love lab. Oh well. So then he swings off and he meets 2 new Bendis characters that I can't stand. And it's because they are just so inescapably shoehorned into this book. And it's just like, I read/saw Kick-Ass too. But that doesn't mean we have to use it in any respect, by the way.
But I could.
Right, but like, should you?
Well, if it's ultimate, sure.
Yeah.
It's
And
ultimate.
What's really frustrating is he establishes this mother-daughter team where they blow shit up. That's their power. They blow shit up.
Like, together?
Yeah, only when they're together. If mom and daughter are together, their powers work. When they're separate, they don't. Like, what a hook. But then Bendis will reestablish them in the main universe. And I'm like, no. Everyone in the world was like, no.
Hey, separate her from her child. It's cruel.
Well, and also, that's the kryptonite for these characters. The daughter is like foul-mouthed and like, I'm like, oh, yeah. Oh, like the
Oh, that's so incongruous.
What?
You seen that?
I've never seen it. So they attack Spider-Man and like the mom wants to leave, the daughter wants to kill Spider-Man. Spider-Man webs the daughter and separates the two of them. And so the daughter gets arrested.
Wait, when you say separate, you mean like
They have to be physically away from each other.
like as far as Ethan and I are away from the couch?
And more like a block away. You have to
okay.
be pretty far.
I thought based on that you had they to be in like contact.
No. May talks to Johnny, which is the right person to talk to Johnny.
Sure. But also like Peter was like, I'll talk to Johnny. I'll talk to Johnny. You know what? I'd rather go to work.
I'd rather work at Burger Fry. Deal with that old irate lady from the opening of the book.
At least he makes money.
Yeah, that's true. You're not gonna make a cent talking to Johnny. So Aunt May talks to Johnny, and basically she tries to like get to the bottom of it. She's just like, you know, she's an adult and a parent.
And he's an adult.
No, looking, he's a child. And she's like, you know, where's your family? What are you doing? Do they know where you are? That kind of thing. Like, we have to call your sister. We have to tell her where you are. We have to set up like all these things. Like, if you can. I'm not gonna say you can just stay here and eat all the fruit roll-ups in the pantry. I'm just saying, like, let's establish a communication with the people you're directly related to. So Pete's at work. He eventually takes a break and he splashes soda all over Mary Jane because she's also at the mall at the same time. It's just like, yeah, right.
What an unfortunate coincidence. What an unlikely coincidence.
Indeed. But we need to have these two characters talk to each other. And so, you know, MJ's mad. I think it's a coffee, actually. I don't think about it. But like, MJ gets, you know, coffee all over herself. She's like, you friggin' idiot. And he's like, sorry.
Doesn't he have a spider sense?
Yeah, but it only warns him of danger.
Yeah, him spilling coffee on someone is not danger to him.
Exactly. He wasn't in any danger at all.
Jeez, she's being a total B to him. She's like, why are you even working here?
Yeah.
It's like, I needed a job.
I needed a job.
This is the best you could do?
What? Yeah.
Frog boy.
Well, I don't have any like skills. Like on paper, I don't do or know anything. But he's like, you know, she's like, and then you're with Gwen, and he's like, yeah, you dumped me. And, and you're like, what? And she's like, yeah, and then you immediately started seeing Gwen. That's pretty messed up. You know, my dad cheated on my mom, and I will never let anyone forget about it. Like, I know that you and Gwen were definitely hooking up. I thought you said, this is the worst part of the book for me. She's like, I thought you said that like you and Gwen were like brother and sister or something, which is what like the audience was thinking at the time.
Right.
And Pete says, I never said that I thought of her as a sister.
Oh, no.
Which is like...
Oh, so you were cheating on me with her?
No, it's just that Gwen were like brother and sister or something, which is what like the audience was thinking at the time.
Right.
And Pete says, I never said that I thought of her as a sister.
Oh, no.
Which is like...
Oh, so you were cheating on me with her?
No, it's just that I never... I'm just saying it's not like I've never gotten a boner while looking at her. Like, I'm just being technically correct.
Thing to say.
Right?
Yeah, the best kind of correct.
Yeah. It was like...
Women love that.
That's how I'm gonna win this argument.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, by being right, obviously, is how I win this argument.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, that's...
I never said that I didn't see her as a sister. Thank you for confirming my suspicions.
No.
So
That's not what I meant.
So she leaves, and he's like, he actually ends up saying something to her face that he's been saying the entire book, where he's like, enjoy being the queen of Crazy Town.
Oh. I mean, that's real.
Yeah. And by the way, if you ever want to let me know why we broke up in the first place, you know my number. So. Because they just broke up.
Good luck turning back into a monster.
Yeah. Good luck getting the cure that we invented for you. Because I don't know if you know Reed's phone number. But his brother-in-law's at my house. Actually, they're not married, so technically not really. Anyway. So then a bunch of spiders attack them all. Like huge spiders. Pete swings in, and they're just an illusion made by Mysterio. Of course.
Oh, thank God.
So Pete like attacks the spiders, goes through them. He like follows the trail of like big giant spiders.
Are they causing destruction?
They are not. They're just, well, they are in
causing
terms
terror.
of they're terrorizing the citizens who are like causing.
Right.
They're just like
accidents and
Yeah.
dropping things.
So then
I'm gonna get you.
yeah. Meanwhile, Mysterio is robbing like the First National Bank of its gold.
It's gold.
Yeah, it's gold reserves.
Oh.
And so then Spider-Man shows up and he's like, so I saw the holographic spiders and I thought Die Hard 3. Remember when there was like that whole terrorist attack and it was actually a ruse to obfuscate from the fact that they were stealing gold? So I thought gold. So I came here, I'm like, wow.
That is the biggest stretch in this entire movie.
I love the reference. Like, I appreciate your
guess,
effort, but
yeah.
like, no. So, but also then I'm like, what is main Mysterio doing? Like, why is he stealing multiversal gold? What is he gonna do with it? Is it made of the same chemical compounds? Like, don't you understand? If you steal $100 in the Ultimate Universe, the serial number is gonna be wrong. Like,
Well, it's just, I want to rule a universe. I
Yeah.
can't rule mine.
so I'll
Maybe I
rule
can
an adjacent one.
Yeah.
He
These
seemed-
people are goobers.
You know
I
the-
can easily rule this
The
universe.
problem is,
He's right.
he's not wrong. The problem is, he shouldn't be nearly as surprised by Spider-Man as he is. Like, you again, or, geez,
Oh, that's one
I
of you
can't.
too?
He should be like,
Yeah.
oh, never mind. I'm going to Boston. You never leave here. Like, that would be at least so. But no, but because there's no way that they
don't
know
know, yeah.
he's Ultimate Mysterio, that he's main Mysterio.
Yeah.
So anyway, like Pete like starts to knock the crap out of Mysterio because Bendis doesn't know that Mysterio is an Avatar body yet. And so, Pete gets like covered in mist, and then Mysterio makes his hasty retreat, and it looks like Pete was robbing the bank, which would be a good setup for like Spider-Man being his persona non grata, but he's not. The Chop's like, well, obviously Mysterio tried to rob the place, and then you tried to stop him, which is the conclusion we always should have jumped to, but we never did.
I mean,
and now we are.
There was a guard that was there at the beginning.
Yeah.
When
Yeah,
Mysterio
but
was taking the money. He
Yeah,
could
so he's the
easily just-
eyewitness. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but did
Corroborate.
he see Mysterio or did he just see terrors?
Right.
that
He
distracted
saw
him?
spiders, and that's the other thing is that like they're spiders, so the cops
Right.
should assume Spider-Man can like conjure giant spiders.
Right, because he always does that.
Well, at least he's spider adjacent. It's not like no, Mysterio did that.
The spiders involved, it must have to do with Spider-Man.
Yeah. So he
Remember
sticks
that time
around.
that everyone turned into a giant spider? Oh wait, that wasn't here.
Yeah, that'd be great if Ultimate Mysterio is making references to other things. Like I've always wanted to do this, and then kills Kingpin.
Yes, if they'd only known.
Yes. If only the creator of this character had known.
Why
You do.
don't introduce a character
You
who's
don't know.
already known to the audience in another universe and not have a plan for who they are?
Yeah.
What is wrong with you?
Right. Or making their identity a mystery.
Yeah.
And then not knowing the
making
answer
it
to that
a
mystery.
mystery that you don't know the. Don't J.J. Abrams this shit.
What? But he's a
friggin'
brilliant
hack.
genius. But it's late 2000s. He's really good at what he does. Like J.J. Abrams is a great Avatar.
But we have two mysteries, and we still haven't seen the Shroud come back.
That's true.
You're just taking advantage of the fact that people haven't done this a lot, so
Yeah.
nobody knows to be skeptical of the fact that you're never going to pay this off.
Yeah. But I mean, you are over 135 issues deep in your story.
True.
Like, people are wise to your last page reveal trick,
Right. Yeah, I feel like I'd be starting to figure it out.
which is why it doesn't really end like that anymore. Like, Ultimate Comics Spider-Man doesn't end with a full page reveal moment. It's more just like continuing the story.
Good.
So Pete arrives at his house after having posed with like the emergency workers that stopped Mysterio's horrible thing, and we see that Sue Storm has gone to the Parker house, had a conversation with Johnny, and then she says goodbye to Peter, and she's basically like, "You take good care of him," and then leaves.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, no, Sue has teamed up with Spider-Man. She knows who he is and stuff. The Fantastic Four all know that Peter is Spider-Man. The idea is that, like, Sue tries to convince Johnny because, like, she's his sister.
Right.
Like, to live with her and to, like, even if they don't want to be the Fantastic Four, like, just be with me because,
We're
like,
family.
our family's dead. Like, our mom and dad are gone. And Johnny's like, I don't want to be around, like, you guys at all right now. Like, I need time for me. And so Sue...
I want to be around a different superhero.
I want to be around different people. I want to be around my friends. And I don't have any of those, so I'll settle for Spider-Man.
So I'll borrow his friends.
Exactly. And so Sue, like, goes, yeah, like, all right, I'll stay in touch with Aunt May, So I'll keep in touch with what Johnny's doing. Johnny will go to regular school with Peter, and and maybe our book will come back. Who knows?
I'd love it if the principal was like, I can't take another child.
Oh, that's a scene that comes up later. So Johnny's like, hey, I talked to my sister, and I'm totally okay to stay here and live with you. This is gonna be great. And it's like, look, I get it. Like,
She was just crying, man.
but I'm not. She's crying
And
about me not going.
And wouldn't you rather me be here happy than her be here crying?
This is kind of messed up.
I don't
I'm
want to
too
be
young to be involved.
Yeah,
with this.
my uncle was murdered in my house a year ago.
And now I got your older sister telling me that you look up to me.
Yeah.
And to call her if I did, like I'm a parent?
Yeah.
What is happening?
A parent to a person who's 2 years older than I am? 8 months ago, the Green Goblin beat my best friend, his son, to death as a goblin.
Yeah. You've had
Both
a lot
of them are goblins.
You've grown up a lot in the last.
No, I haven't. I've been
That's not your
traumatized
choice,
a lot.
But yeah.
I've gone through a lot. That's not the same thing as growing up.
Yeah, you've gone through a whole lifetime of trauma in just 6 months.
That's true.
yeah.
So MJ works at the mall, and so she's leaving her shift, and her manager comes up to her, and he's like, hey, do you want to go out sometime? And she's like, what?
I thought she worked at the newspaper.
No,
that's
she
like
works
a-
for the
that's
school
like a
newspaper.
club. Yeah.
No,
She works for the newspaper. Like,
yeah, the way that like
make
I
money
worked
from
for the track team. Like a car pulls up and he's like, hey, cute girl, you're coming with me. This book is just loaded with problems.
What? Jesus.
So the manager leaves because they don't want him. He's like, okay, bye.
Well, I'm not part of this conversation.
Whoa. Listen, good luck with
I'm
all
gonna delegate this
that.
to you.
As your manager. I think you are the perfect person to handle this problem. I guess Mary Jane is like choked with trauma herself because like every interaction she has, every altercation she's in is met with like fear and like little speech bubbles. Like when she's talking to Kitty and Kitty gives her a hard time, she's like, yeah, well, you don't have your boyfriend either. She broke up with Peter because like she can't handle it. Not, it's not like because Peter's bad or because like he did anything wrong. It's just I can't. I don't even know how to react to things anymore. This is over. And you're Spider-Man. Like you're still like going like ha ha.
I feel like I shouldn't be dealing with this at
Like,
my age.
You're right, like I'm freaking out and like you want to make out. The Shroud shows up and he lands on the car, smashing it and saving MJ. And
So Red Moon Knight is here.
yeah, Red Moon Knight or Ultimate the Hood or whoever the identity is of the Shroud, which I do know and will be revealed at the end of this volume, attacks the would-be traffickers, whatever, and then yells their patented catchphrase of like, you're a piece of crap and you're making the world worse and you have all these opportunities and you're squandering them by taking children off the street. And I'm like, okay, you're very intimidating when you're doing the Shroud thing.
Right. When you talk, it's like.
But when you talk, it's like, oh, you're like an idiot.
What are you, like 12? You're like a kid?
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah. So,
Fire.
what? Why would you think it's Kitty Pryde? Because she acts just like her? So, anyway, yes, it's Kitty.
Well, they fire bullets here. And
Oh,
it
and they
doesn't have
phase
any
through her?
effect.
Yeah, huh? So, but, no, but maybe
Well, you
they're
didn't see them phase.
You
We
just
just saw, you know,
they
Right,
didn't
maybe
affect
no
her.
effect.
So you can't
Yeah.
really tell if the trajectory would have gone through.
Yeah,
Maybe-
and like they're really strong. And it's, maybe it's because they're concentrating their phasing powers. Like,
Yeah,
it's,
like how does she crush the roof of the car?
because
Who
they're
cares?
phasing powers.
She's immune.
She's really strong. She does the thing with it's her powers, but like doing
Yeah.
it that way. Anyway, so they bump into Mary Jane, and MJ's like, "Who are you?" And she's like, they're like, "What are you doing? What do you mean?" And they're like, "You're doing a voice. Are you a girl? You look like my age. Like you look like you're built like me."
Yeah.
And they're like,
You're
"Fuck
very
you!"
slight.
And they leave.
No, I gotta go.
And she's like, "Yeah."
I'm just saying, Fight Club is the best movie ever made.
We see that Pete and Mary Jane like end up talking to each other. MJ's like, "Well, I had another traumatic experience."
But this time it didn't involve you.
It didn't. It had nothing to do with you, which says to me that
I'm just attracted to danger.
right, like shit happens more or less, and it's not your fault. And I shouldn't have broken up with you because you're not the reason why I'm having it. She completely melts down.
Oh my god. In the hall.
Listen.
She had a gun pointed at her and was almost kidnapped.
Yeah, and she definitely didn't talk to anybody about it.
No.
Until now.
Yeah, but
that
you don't
said,
have time for this.
you have laughed.
Get to homegrown.
I will tell you this. I don't know about you, then I don't recall, honestly. but I know I have had this scene 3 or 4 times during high school.
Yes.
That is real.
And it's either a free period, or on lunch, or it's 3 minutes between classes.
Yeah, or it's the 3 minutes between classes, and it's like, look, yeah, no, these are important moments for you to realize your priorities. I definitely recall being in situations where, like, well, clearly she does not care about math because I'm late to it right now, and I'm still here. So I need to make a choice. Am I going to leave her like this and go to math, or am I going to stay here until she realizes she has to get to math, or until the situation's resolved, and then explain to the teacher in some fashion why I'm late?
Yeah.
And I chose the
They're
latter.
not gonna care.
Oh yeah,
Whatever reason
right. But like
have.
you take your lumps. Like it's like
Yeah.
you choose the emotional needs of someone else over your own personal reward.
Yeah.
That's something that like I certainly learned many, many times over the many D's I received in high school.
I was doing the work. It was just my attendance problem.
right? Like
No.
No.
I was very good at talking my way out of detention. She's like, so yeah, I had a hard time, and you know what? I was mean to you at the mall, and that wasn't fair. But also, should have broken up because now you're with Gwen, and she's so great, and you're never gonna be with me again, and I love you.
And Gwen's like there. And
Gwen's like, hey. And what's weird? This is where, and then we go into science
Do
fiction.
I walk in? Do I back out?
Yeah.
It's just I can't ignore this.
I would love it if Gwen was like, just left the frame. MJ and Gwen and Peter were friends, when MJ and Peter were an item. And off as well. But like Gwen and Pete and MJ were like bosom buddies. They were like the Trinity. And now, MJ dumps Pete. Pete lives and hooks up with Gwen. MJ like kept Pete at arm's length and pushed everyone away from her.
Right.
And it's realistic in as much as
Well, she hides behind the camera.
yeah,
well.
she creates a
She
divide.
creates
a barrier
between herself
and
the world.
reality. Yeah. But the other thing is like, I get the idea that like she's been through so much trauma that she like doesn't know how best to deal with a situation like friendships and relationships and stuff like that. Like she's depressed. But from their perspective, they're like, you dumped Peter and then stopped talking to us. Like you just bailed on us.
Right.
We don't hate you. That's why we're not talking.
Yeah,
Right.
you cut us out.
Exactly. And it's like, that's fair. Like, that's fair, but also them kind of victim blaming her where they're like, well, you didn't call me. So I don't know why we're even having this conversation. Like, it's like, well, but the other thing is they all had shared experience. Like, everyone's family died in the wave. Like,
Right.
we all had a hard time. None of us turned into beast people, but like, I turned into a carnage. I died. Actually, you know what? F you. I died. I'm not even me. My corpse is in the backyard.
Well, this is some Rick and Morty shit. Okay, so I
Right?
don't care that you
I
broke up with someone that you're still in love with.
Right?
Oh no.
My boyfriend, by the way, so step off. But no, so instead, they're just like, hey, like, it's cool. It's cool that you're in love with Peter, regret dumping him, and want me and he to stop seeing each other, but we're just gonna be friends anyway. And then like Flash Thompson pops in and he's like, whoa, the nerds are fighting over Peter, what a douche. And then they all yell at him and I'm like, what a cartoon moment this was. What
Yes.
a dumb, this doesn't
just like a
fit.
manga.
Yeah, right. And it's like, I get it. Like at issue 4 or whatever into this series, I can see Ben as being like, I gotta play to this guy's strengths or something because like, it's just doing what I normally do is not working.
I guess this is what they want.
This is what they want, like this big dumb cartoon moment. So anyway,
Okay.
then Jessica Jones forgivably breaks into this conversation to stop all this crap. She's like, MJ, the Hulk is attacking the whatever bridge we didn't lose in the wave. We gotta stop it.
The bridge that's left.
The only bridge out of town. And so, she's gonna go film it, and for the school paper. And can you imagine? We work for the school paper. Like, can you imagine me being like, yeah, Mr. Featherman, I need to go 45 minutes up to Manhattan so that I can film a terrorist attack for the paper.
I mean, to be fair, they do live in.
They live in New York, so
Okay, but if there was a fire
but they're in Queens. It's
in town, and I tried to tell a teacher,
Yeah, you
hey,
couldn't
I
have-
have to leave because I have to go film this fire.
This is local news. This is my jurisdiction.
the kids in the volunteer fire department in our class weren't allowed to leave. There's a fire next door. I'm in the volunteer fire department.
Yeah, I guess it's gonna burn down because you got a test.
Well, you don't have a fire engine, kid. You barely have a driver's license. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, you help after school with that.
Yes,
After school.
it's 9:30. So
Well, I hope that fire will burn for another 8 hours.
yes,
'cause,
I'm sure
you're
they'll
going
handle
nowhere.
it. I'm sure that the actual firefighters can handle it. So Pete Spider-Man's up. He swings out there. It's a mirage. It's fucking Mysterio. Great opportunity, by the way, for Ultimate Mysterio to make a mistake and
Use the
use
wrong Hulk.
real Hulk. But we don't know that that's who that is.
So we can't do that.
Yeah, and I know I'm doing it on purpose to throw you off. It's not that I, the writer, have no idea who this character is.
Okay.
So Pete's like, it's a mirage. Like, it's fine. So he jumps through it, and then like they're always carefully placed bombs
Oh no.
where Pete's gonna jump, and then they like go off and knock him out. And Mysterio's like, gotcha.
Yikes.
It's a great moment.
Yeah, I learned.
Yeah, right. I know what you know, you piece of shit. So he's gonna kill him, but first he's gonna film him. He's gonna take his mask off and film him and shit.
Oh, yeah.
And then the Shroud shows up and saves him. Meanwhile, at Kitty's house, her mom comes home, and Iceman is living in their house like a squatter.
Oh.
But apparently, he was told he could live there by Kitty at an earlier point, not shown in this volume. But he is acting like he's been secretly hiding in there. Like, it's just like, dude, like, what? Anyway, scares the shit out of Kitty's mom. And Kitty's mom is like, I'm done with the mutant shit. I'm not the Xavier Institute. I regret the X-Men situation. Like, I'm fighting every day with the principal to keep Kitty in school on a completely legal bound.
You are not my problem.
You are not my problem. You are someone else's kid.
Why don't you go to the
Get out.
Parkers?
Yeah, so he does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. We're gonna move him into the Parkers because one thing that's more ironic, because there's nothing more iconic in a Spider-Man book than having an ice-powered character and a fire-powered character like Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, because we can never escape this cartoon. At least it's not Firestar, but we already introduced Firestar, and I don't understand why we didn't just make it Firestar. But like, we got to get Johnny in here, probably because the book is over. So it's like, why not use Fantastic
That
Four?
ties in the Fantastic Four book. Firestar doesn't have a book right now.
No, she doesn't. She's a Spider-Man character in the Ultimate Universe. Also, we
Exactly.
never see her again, so who cares? So, anyway, Mysterio is going to take off Spider-Man's mask because he doesn't know who he is, and doesn't care, and isn't, and then seemingly has no relationship with Spider-Man whatsoever. But then the Shroud shows up and
Oh no.
saves Spider-Man, and Spider-Man's like, "Hey, MJ said that you were maybe a girl and also are like hiding who you are." Yeah, Pete like beats the crap out of Mysterio, takes off his like mask, reveals who he is. It's not Quentin Beck, but
Just a guy.
well, it's also like a robot. Like, it's not him. It shouldn't
Right.
be, but he doesn't know that either, so it doesn't matter.
No, this is an android.
You know,
And it's got skin on the outside.
well, it could be. I mean, but also it's drawn by David LaFontaine, so like it's a white guy.
Yeah, it's just a white guy.
He looks like Kingpin or Peter or Johnny Storm. Like, it looks like anybody. So Pete tries to talk to the Shroud and figure out who they are. Doesn't get anywhere. And then like a cute goth chick goes up to Peter and goes like, "Hey, give me your autograph and here's my number and stuff." And he's like,
Okay.
"Okay."
Sweet.
Fair. After the fight, Pete finds like a device that Mysterio uses. And so he brings it to his friend, who's a police officer within the department, and asks him to like analyze it or whatever. And the cop is like, "What you did was take evidence from a crime scene. Like, you've ruined the ability to
use this at all."
Well, it's like he's like, it's like advanced technology. Maybe you could like reverse engineer it or like see who built it or something. Like, it's not valuable if you could like dust it for prints or whatever.
Right.
Even though it clearly would have been. Except it
Is
wouldn't
his-
have been because it's one of the universe.
Is this friend a super scientist?
No, it's just a cop.
It's just a cop.
But maybe you know. Oh right,
Yeah,
I
can't
actually
you do some CSI shit on it? You
Right.
know?
And actually,
Like,
Peter-
detect what kind of metals it has.
Peter knows more super scientists than this police officer. Like, what are you doing? What ultimately happens is, like, the cop takes it, And he's like, yeah, okay.
All right.
I mean,
I have to take it. I can't hand you back evidence.
Yeah.
that's true. I will take it.
Yeah, I'll give it to the lab. They're
Yeah.
gonna not
It's so frustrating.
know what
It's
to do with it,
it's
but
like,
okay.
Would it be great if it was from like the main universe? But like Mysterio just uses. He's not like a scientist. He just uses like film equipment.
Yeah, whatever's there.
Yeah, he uses whatever he can get his hands on. But it'd be great if he did use like 616 Stark Tech or whatever, but he doesn't. So whatever.
This is just. It's just epoxy.
Right. Yeah, it's fake. It doesn't do anything. So Pete comes home and he's intercepted by Gwen, and she's like, "You are not going to believe how weird this book is about to get." He's like, "What do you mean?" And so he goes in there, and like Kitty's there, and Johnny's there, and he's like,
This is some kind of messed up intervention.
"Right." Like, what is happening? Anime takes Peter aside, and she's like,
Get these kids out of my house.
"No, it's reversed. It's worse." Aunt May is like, "So Bobby's going to live with us," and Pete's like, "I don't know what they told you.
You're in trouble.
I don't know him." Like, this is already disruptive enough. Like,
I barely know Johnny.
I don't like Johnny. And he's living in my room. I don't know Bobby. And I really don't need more shit. Like, right now.
Just because we're all children
Doesn't
mean we're all friends
You
or
know-
even know each other.
May, I'm gonna remember this when I drop you off at the old age home.
You'll get along with them.
old like
You're gonna get along with them great because they're all the same age, you see. Now get out of here.
That is a perfect analogy. Yeah.
This is horrible.
Yep.
You know, why don't we call Mary Jane and have her move in too while we're
Well,
adding to
accepting-
this shit sandwich? And by the way, they're like, Peter, like he's in the other room. Like, stop being a dipshit.
Yeah.
Like, this poor kid needs our help. And he's like, I need help. I am having a hard time.
This is my aunt.
Yeah, I don't want everyone being sad when she's killed, okay? Anyway, so he loses the argument.
Yeah.
And so Bobby's moving in.
For some reason, Gwen is like really into
She
this.
thinks this is hilarious.
I guess because like that's what she did.
It's cool.
She's like more
me.
More of these.
Yeah. Well, just more people. You know, it makes it. Gwen doesn't have a family. Oh, look at all the family. I'm
Gwen's
like,
also dead?
like she's alive. This
What
new-
is she?
She's a clone.
She's a clone. But she
Okay.
doesn't know.
She remembers-
Perceives herself to be the same person
Yeah.
as she was before.
Same memories.
Yeah.
Does she? She no longer has the Carnage powers.
Nope.
Nope.
They split them.
Yep. So she's just a normal girl who
Yes.
happens to have a period of her life where she had been a Carnage.
Yes.
And also was in a different body.
Yeah, she has some missing time between when she died and when they cloned her,
Yeah.
and also she was a Carnage during that time when
Yeah,
she
and
was.
everyone remembers her dying.
Yeah, but that's like, oh, I missed 2 months.
Real messed
Yeah,
up.
there is a grave.
Yeah, and her body is literally over there. I actually appreciate that they don't seem to be being like, oh, but what does it mean to be a clone?
No.
You're not the real Gwen.
Nope,
because
no one has
for
that com-
all intents and purposes, she is the real Gwen.
No, in 616
No,
it is
this-
like that.
I
They're
know,
like,
and I
he's
hate
like, you're a
it.
puppet person.
Yeah. Makes me crazy.
Well, that's because in 616 they also melt at some
That's
point.
also because, yeah, he had that interaction with at least 6 other Gwens,
Yeah.
and he's like, no!
Well, that is messed up. That's true. As far as they know, that won't happen. So I can
And it won't.
make sense.
Thank
of things.
God.
We closed the
I
facility.
can't wait until we get to the end of this book. Gwen just like, I don't feel good.
That would be a real problem. I do not like that.
Especially when he like Peter finally like tells MJ off.
Yeah.
Like, no, we broke up. Life's better like now.
Oh. No, Gwen! Oh, okay, Mary Jane, we can get back together.
Hey.
Well, that makes some things a lot easier.
Yeah, honestly. She
know?
didn't die hating you, and
Glass half full. No more awkward love triangle.
hey, how about that? Mysterio, who is definitely not the person from the other universe, is like freaking out. He's like, this stupid Spider-Man person, and he ruins everything, and then he finds like some DNA, like some blood on his like suit.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, oh, that's not my blood, that's someone else. I'm gonna use that. So he trains a Spider Slayer to attack the owner of that DNA sequence. So a Spider Slayer attacks the school.
Oh.
We'll get into that later. So now we have a full double page splash that
This
establishes.
school has had enough.
I was like, this is enough. It's really, we'll get into it. Double page splash. Here's the new status quo for Ultimate Comics Spider-Man.
This is amazing.
I know.
This is
Like,
like,
we got
opening to a sitcom.
Yeah. Ba-da. Because like Kitty's also gonna be like, I'm friends with Bobby, and my parents are like, they hate me. Like at least my
so I'm
mom
gonna be
does.
hanging out here a lot.
So I'm gonna be hanging out here a lot more. So it's Kitty and Bobby and Johnny and Gwen, and they're all hanging out. There's actually an awkward and horribly accurate moment where like they're all hanging out, and Gwen goes, I just have an announcement to make. Peter is my boyfriend. And so no one can make any advances on me because it's just me and Peter. And Aunt May's like, sit down and don't say anything ever again. It was horrible what you just did. So they're like, what are we gonna do now? Like the kid's like, well, you know, they're like Marty when they goes back in time, like, well, you know, like I can hang out, you can pal around. And she's like, you're going to school. And they're like, what? Yeah, and she's like, yeah, Peter's like, yeah, these are my cousins who have been long lost and are here now. So they dyed Johnny's hair.
Like, show up at school.
Oh, yes they can. Aunt May goes to the principal's office and she's like, yeah, I'd like to enroll my my two like nephews or whatever.
Two human nephews.
Yep. Or
both
not
of
mutants
whom are
or
humans
superheroes.
and not mutants or anything else.
And
Really? Because that looks like the Human Torch with a dye job.
It isn't.
Well,
it is not. Now, don't forget, because you definitely did, that the last time we actually saw the principal before this volume was when the principal was like, your nephew is Spider-Man, and I called the police.
Oh yeah.
Police! And the principal's like, so, I don't know if you remember, but like, I think you and I kind of got off on the wrong foot before about like how like I accused you of harboring a fugitive from justice and I called maybe the police on you and stuff. And then, you know, cut to a couple months later, Spider-Man is like the #1 guy and
Save the city.
And like if I said something bad about Spider-Man, like I'd be canceled. And so I'm thinking maybe like I just give you a pass. And she's like, sounds good to me. Because like, you know,
Sounds like we're even.
exactly. And the principal, who looks nothing like John Suntress from Word Balloon, and is not named after him in any way, says, you know, they lead the whole thing where he's like, so cousins. She's like, yep. And you have any records of them? They were destroyed in the flood. Convenient.
Ah, yes, of course.
Of course, yes, excellent. You understand also that like we've added like 2 other districts to this school, so like we're already choked people. Like we got like, you know, 90-person classroom sizes and shit. And you want to add 2 more bodies to this? That's correct, yes. I see. And you're doing this because you have emotional and maybe even legal leverage over me. Yeah, that's correct. I'm going to be pulling that now. Yeah, fair enough. Okay. So they're going. And Mary Jane, by the way, has not been made privy to this. So she says, this is not going to work.
Right. There's no chance of this happening. This is impossible.
Like they're walking down the school, they're like, hey, she's like, put the brakes on this right now. And they're like, hey, you dumped me. Boot. So then Pete gets his spider sense and he's like, uh-oh. And then the Spider Slayer attacks. Like, the principal's like, you know what, actually, like having Spider-Man, like knowing Spider-Man goes to our school, knowing that he's a good kid, he's got good upbringing and stuff, like it actually is a source of pride. And I'm like, just please don't make my life any harder.
Yeah, promise me these are normal children.
I cannot make that promise, but I also can promise that like the building won't explode, and then it does.
God damn.
I'm like, oh my god! And it's like it's a Spider Slayer that's in tune with Peter's DNA, so it's like it is 100% connected with.
Oh, so it is
Right.
Peter's DNA.
It is
okay.
his fault.
I was hoping it
directly
was
related
I was
to-
hoping it was Kitty Pryde.
Oh my god! Yeah, that'd be great. I wish. Nope. That'd be something. So Johnny and Bobby are like, oh, let's suit up, and Pete's like, no,
You just got
you can't. They can't. You can't. I'm sorry. Just let me handle this. So he Spider-Man's up and he fights the thing, and it's like, that makes sense.
Yeah. That is weird looking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
it's a bizarre traffic light of a spider
yeah. It's got
slayer.
the eyes like Mysterio.
Yeah.
You see, Mysterio. So,
It's cool. So there's
Yeah.
a fight.
so Pete like has to save the principal,
Okay. So now the
and
principal really likes him.
I guess.
I guess. Or he's just like, you brought this on our school.
He's just like, ah! So then the Shroud shows up.
Sweet.
And the Shroud ends up actually beating the Slayer while Peter is saving the principal.
Okay.
And then Johnny and Bobby show up, like they run
That's
around
because the
back.
shroud,
Right.
sort of phases through
What?
it, straps in.
Well, you'll be very hesitant to assume that they phased through anything, but they definitely did.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they destroy the robot and everything, and
Why does Johnny have his powers on?
Oh, he pretended
he
like
pretended like he didn't go to the school. Like, I'm here now. I saw some ruckus, and
he waited like 20 seconds, so that
Yeah.
it was plausible that he could have seen it in the distance or something.
yeah, it
and
wasn't that
gotten
like
there.
Spider-Man sprung into action next to Human Torch. And Iceman's like, man,
Bobby's like, I am sitting this one out.
that's horrible. He doesn't want to, but like,
So he's a mutant, so it's worse for his powers.
yes,
to
they
get this
know he's a mutant,
Yeah.
as opposed to Johnny, who's Fantastic Four, beloved member of the super team. So yeah, Shroud escaped. Johnny like burns the remains of the machine, and then the two of them, like Spider-Man and Johnny, like leave. They're like, well, goodbye, citizens. Yeah. and then Kitty like goes to an alley and like takes off her Shroud costume and like starts crying.
What's his blood coming over nose?
Yeah, well, it was a tough fight. So I was like, oh my god, this is my life now.
Yeah, I'm sitting in trash like Spawn. It's horrible.
So this ends with Mysterio just being like, well, I'm still around and a problem.
Yes.
Yes.
He's like, oh, I have a new perspective. Like, I hate superheroes, and I'm totally not from the original universe. Like, he just says more things that reinforce that he's definitely not the Mysterio that he will be. And,
His own unique character.
And I'm like, look,
not related to another character that you already know.
Why didn't you just make it like he's original character,
Why
and then
just-
have real Mysterio kill that guy and just take his shit?
Yeah, if you wanted to do
If you
that.
wanted to do that so bad.
Yeah, all right.
So the cop ends up actually like he actually ends up doing the thing Peter asked him to do. So he finds out like the warehouse where they built the tech that they stole, and Mysterio blows up the warehouse.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it's actually funny. Like the cop is like outside. He's like, I can't believe he did this. Like we actually caught the guy.
Yeah.
And Mysterio's like, damn it, so close. Blows up the building, and then the cop's car blows up, and he's like, damn it, so close. It's like, nah. That's the beginning of the new era for Spider-Man. Is that Spider-Man lives in a halfway house for half-pint superheroes.
And the big bad is Mysterio?
In this volume, the next one it's Chameleon.
Oh, okay.
What?
But they didn't defeat Mysterio.
Yeah, he's still around.
I know, isn't that a problem?
Yes.
Yeah, but like that means
He'll
he's
be a different guy.
He killed Kingpin so that you could establish that like he's kind of the new Kingpin. Like Kingpin didn't always just go away.
Right.
If it's anywhere, I'll put it in the comments, but I doubt it is. Like the problem is the book is kind of out of print. Ultimate Comics Spider-Man.
Yeah, UCSM?
Yeah, UCSN. It's Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah.
See you next week. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
Keep reading.
This.
Ah,
What is this?
what am I supposed to be?
What am I looking at?
My problem is the bombs, like the bombshells.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
It's
Is that what they're called?
I
That's
believe
their,
so.
Yeah, that's their name, yes.
It's just
Bombshells.
they're just it's just so flagrantly kick-ass.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay,
You're just taking someone else's idea wholesale.
And it's like you're not even doing anything
Except that
funny
it's a
with
mom
it.
instead of a dad. Like,
Right.
That's the only difference.
You're not doing anything with it. You're not like criticizing how stupid that is.
Nope.
Or elevating it to a superhero universe. It's just a thing that's happening that is a lot like that other thing that more people know about.
This is gonna be a good one. Doctor Who is a show I absolutely adore. Big surprise. If you're unfamiliar, Doctor Who is a BBC-produced sci-fi show about a time-traveling alien called the Doctor. The Doctor travels around the universe in a time machine called the TARDIS that's bigger on the inside. The Doctor goes around stopping bad guys, righting wrongs, and kissing barely legal humans. However, when the Doctor dies, they can just click the respawn button and come back to life with a completely different face. Usually. Every Doctor is different. Every Doctor has The next episode, Flatline, wastes no time in setting up where Clara's character will go from here. The TARDIS is shrunk down to the size of a toy. Wait a minute, I've got one of those. I wonder if he's in here. It's really hard to do one-handed. Aww. I mean, come on, are you telling me you wouldn't? Yeah, anyway, now, on to the series finale. Apparently, people don't like this finale. I cannot understand why for a second, so if that's you, allow me to explain why you are wrong. And stinky. Stinky and wrong. The episode begins with Clara and Danny on the phone. Danny is on his way to Clara's apartment, and Clara is finally gonna be honest with him. About the adventures, about her whole life, about who she is. Okay, this is very sudden, I'm sorry if this seems a bit disjointed, but I was just editing this video, and I was looking at all the post-it notes in Clara's room, and one of them says 3 months. Now I'm not sure what exactly this means. Did she perhaps have another surprise for Danny? But yeah, I'm not really sure what this means, and it's kind of strange that it never really went anywhere. This is the day they properly define their relationship, and Clara literally can't wait for Danny to get there. But then...
The car, it just came out of nowhere. I'm so sorry.
Before she even knows it, he's dead. He gets hit by a car and dies without Clara being there. This whole beginning is so good. How Clara runs to the scene, but as soon as she gets there, it transitions to a little while later, and in the blink of an eye, it's over. The world carries on. This is just a perfect representation of how it feels to lose a loved one. Funnily enough, of all places, I think it was put best in Peter Kay's car share.
The world just doesn't stop turning because somebody dies, love. I know you might want it to, but it doesn't.
Even Clara's Nan's greeting of
Hello, love. You're right.
is just so typical and ordinary. And all Clara can focus on is the ordinariness of Danny's death. She's so used to these adventures in time and space, watching people die at the hands of merciless gun-wielding aliens, or invisible immortal soldiers, or people getting flattened and their anatomy examined by beings from another dimension. But this? It was nothing in comparison. And yet, it means everything to her. Clara demands the Doctor save Danny. She steals all the spare TARDIS keys and throws them into what she believes to be a pool of lava. She knows it's impossible, yet her massive overconfidence and controlling nature that's been exacerbated throughout the series results in her believing she can take charge, that she can get the Doctor to do whatever she wants. She believes she's owed it from the man who caused all the tension in her relationship from the start. And she does it. She's so blinded by grief and anger and revenge that she throws away all of the TARDIS keys. And the post-burn clarity hits hard. It turns out the Doctor knew it was all an illusion, and let Clara's fantasy play out to see how far she would go. Despite Clara betraying the Doctor, despite her taking advantage of his trust and showing how she would genuinely sacrifice his whole life to get her own way, he helps her. He agrees to help look for Danny. That's how much the Doctor cares about Clara. I know some people say this is weird from the Doctor, but a similar thing happened in Father's Day. Just like the Doctor cared about Rose, he cares about Clara. I mean, she jumped into his time stream and saved his life countless times, convinced the Time Lords to save him from death, and helped steer him back on track